This is HB Vibes, your home for shocking and emotional law stories. Hit like, smash that subscribe, and let's dive into the drama. Judge Rebecca Hayes was known for her calm demeanor and unwavering sense of justice. That morning, as she entered Courtroom 7B, she expected another ordinary day of hearings. The chatter of lawyers, the shuffle of papers, and the faint sound of the bailiff calling names filled the air. Case number 3479, the State vs. David Miller, the bailiff announced. Rebecca adjusted her robe and glanced at the defendant's table. The moment her eyes landed on the man in handcuffs, her heart skipped a beat. His hair was grayer, his posture weary, but the face, oh, the face she could never forget. It was David Miller, her childhood best friend, the boy she had shared secrets, dreams, and late summer evenings with. The boy who once defended her from bullies and swore they'd conquer the world together. Now, decades later, he stood before her, accused of fraud and theft. Rebecca's throat tightened. She had faced high-profile cases, even life-or-death verdicts, but nothing prepared her for this. She straightened in her chair, reminding herself she was no longer Becky from Maple Street. She was Judge Hayes, and justice demanded impartiality. Yet as the proceedings began, a single thought haunted her: how did David end up here? While the prosecutor laid out the charges, Rebecca's mind betrayed her, drifting back to their childhood. She remembered the dusty baseball field behind Maple Elementary, where David pitched while she cheered louder than anyone. She remembered how he shared his lunch with her when her family couldn't afford much. He was smart, protective, and had a laugh that made the hardest days easier. They had once dreamed of building futures side by side. Rebecca wanted to be a lawyer, and David wanted to start his own business. But life had pulled them apart. Rebecca earned scholarships, worked tirelessly, and climbed her way into law. David, as she later heard through gossip, had faced harder roads: his father's death, financial struggles, and a business that never quite took off. Now here he was, accused of taking money from vulnerable families. Rebecca wanted to believe there had to be more to the story. She kept her face neutral, but inside her chest, old memories clashed with the grim reality before her. David glanced up at her once, and their eyes met. In that instant, time collapsed. His eyes carried shame, exhaustion, and a silent plea: "Do you remember me, Becky?" Rebecca quickly looked away, her gavel tapping softly. The court must see a judge, not a childhood friend lost in memory. The prosecutor painted David as a man who had deliberately swindled investors. Charts and witnesses showed evidence of missing funds, debts, and false promises. To the jury, it looked like David had orchestrated a financial scheme. But as the defense attorney cross-examined, cracks appeared. Some documents were incomplete, some testimonies conflicted. Rebecca listened intently. While she couldn't interfere, her legal instincts told her something was off. David didn't look like a cunning mastermind. He looked like a man crushed under circumstances, carrying the weight of too many wrong turns. At one point, the defense called David to the stand. His voice trembled as he spoke. "I never meant to hurt anyone. I was drowning in debt. I trusted people I shouldn't have. I thought I was making things better, not worse." Rebecca watched him closely. She had seen liars in her courtroom, people who twisted stories to escape punishment. But David's pain felt raw, real. Still, truth had to be proven, not assumed. Inside, Rebecca's heart warred with itself. Was he guilty, or was he simply broken? During a recess, Rebecca remained on the bench as the attorneys shuffled papers. David sat quietly, his head bowed. For the first time in years, he raised his eyes and met hers again. No words were spoken, none could be. But in that silence, Rebecca felt as though they were back under the oak tree of their childhood, promising to always look out for each other. His eyes begged her to see not just the accused, but the boy he once was. Rebecca tightened her grip on her pen. She couldn't let emotions cloud her role. Still, her heart whispered, "This is not just any case. This is David." The trial stretched on. Witnesses came and went, each layer of testimony painting a more complex picture. Then came a surprising twist. A financial analyst brought forward overlooked records. Numbers didn't align. The missing funds traced back not to David, but to his so-called business partner, a man who had mysteriously disappeared just before the scandal broke. The courtroom buzzed. Could it be that David had been framed as a scapegoat? Rebecca's mind raced. She couldn't intervene directly, but she guided the process carefully, ensuring evidence was properly examined. Every fiber of her being wanted to protect David, but not because of who he was. Because, for the first time, truth itself pointed toward his innocence. The day of the verdict arrived. The jury deliberated for hours before returning. The courtroom fell silent as the foreperson stood. "We find the defendant not guilty." A collective gasp spread. David's shoulders collapsed with relief. Tears welled in his eyes. Rebecca maintained her composure, her gavel striking firmly as she dismissed the case. Yet her hands trembled slightly. She hadn't saved David out of favoritism, justice had. Still, she knew their lives would never be the same after this moment. When the courtroom emptied, David lingered at the door. Slowly, he approached the bench. The bailiff allowed it, sensing the unspoken bond. For a moment, they stood in silence, years of distance between them. Finally, David whispered, "Thank you for seeing me, Becky." Rebecca's eyes softened, though she remained composed. "Justice isn't about the past. It's about truth. You deserve the truth." David nodded, emotion choking his words. "I don't know what comes next, but I'll try to make things right." As he walked out a free man, Rebecca watched him go, her heart heavy but hopeful. Life had brought them back together in the most unexpected way, not as childhood friends, but as a judge and a man seeking redemption. And though the world outside moved on, everyone who witnessed the trial knew they had seen more than justice. They had seen the power of compassion, memory, and truth intertwining in one unforgettable moment. If you felt the heartbeat of this story, give it a like, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to HB Vibes, where every story carries a lesson for the soul.